Hey guys, I'm Suzanne Brubaker, founder and creator of Water and Rock Kids. I wanted to talk today a little bit about children's behaviors. So what I have found in moms groups and in conversations with people and even conversations with educators in the schools, there are so many people that are really jumping on this mindfulness trend, which is so incredible and wonderful, and truly, just as a yogi and as a psychologist, it just makes my heart happy. Mindfulness is so needed, especially now more than ever. But one of the things that I also hear quite often is, so tell the child or have the child stop and take a deep breath. How many of you have heard someone say that or have said it yourself to a child? Stop and take a deep breath, right? Theoretically, that sounds pretty amazing. Are you able to stop and take a deep breath when you are maybe really angry and trying to get your point across, or maybe just really, really tired and frustrated, or feeling extremely anxious, scared, or worried? How would it feel to you if someone said, hey, why don't you stop and take a deep breath, right? Well-meaning as it may be, that's just not always realistic or possible, and honestly, it's not showing a caring and understanding approach toward what the child is going through, okay? So let's just talk about that for just a second. Stop and take a deep breath. So that's what we're wanting the child to do, right? We know that deep breaths regulate the nervous system. Deep breaths lower blood pressure. Deep breaths tell the brain basically to relax, right? To calm down, to stop those thoughts, that monkey mind, all of that, right? Deep breaths actually work with the nervous system and move your body from that stress response, that fight, flight, freeze, fawn response, into that rest and digest. It's a physiological thing, right? It's very cool. So deep breaths are mindful, and they are what we strive for ourselves and our children to be able to use, that are right there in the moment when they're starting to get those feelings or those signals in their body and in their brain that are telling them that they're getting to that escalated point, right? So we want them to take the deep breaths, and obviously they need to stop the behavior that they're engaging in order to shift their focus to deep breathing. So if they can't do it in the moment when we say stop and take a deep breath, how can we help them? Well, there's a few different ways that we can help them. One is giving them a little space, giving them a little time to figure it out themselves. Believe it or not, that actually is the #1 way to accomplish what we're wanting. Now, let's back up a little bit though. They need that foundation and those tools and skills and understanding. And with that foundation, they have to have body awareness and self-awareness, right? They need to understand what their body feels like when it's feeling good and what their body feels like when they're starting to feel overwhelmed or escalated or dysregulated, right? They need to have an understanding of that. Does their heart beat faster? Do their palms sweat? Do they start to feel really hot or really cold? What does that feel like in their body? They need to have that understanding of body awareness. In addition to that, and along with that, they need to have self-awareness as well, which is understanding how they feel as themselves when it's just like things are going okay. What is their self like? What are the thoughts like that are running through their head? And then when they start to get into that state of overwhelmed or dysregulated, how does their self change? What kinds of thoughts are they feeling? It all goes together, right? That self-awareness and their body awareness. So children have to have a strong foundation of that before they can know how to stop and breathe, right? So once they have that strong foundation, then they can start to really absorb the tools and the skills that you're teaching them, the different types of breathing techniques, the recognition of what's going on with their self and their body so that they can take a step back. What taking a step back actually is and actually means for them. Okay, all of those things. So how do they get that strong foundation of body awareness and self-awareness? Well, it takes time, it takes practice, it takes teaching. And you know what? Finding a good yoga instructor and a good yoga class is the best way to lay that foundation for children. See where I'm going with this? Yoga is so incredibly important for children. The mindfulness strategies are amazing, but you have to use that along with everything else that yoga teaches us. All of the principles of yoga, all of the benefits of yoga, all of that understanding our body, turning inward, letting go of external voices and pressures, empowerment, control, self-esteem, self-confidence, all of those things are what yoga teaches us. So once children have that strong foundation, then they can understand more of what stop and take a deep breath means. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And that also applies to you as an adult too. So think about that. And I'm going to be posting here some hopefully helpful strategies for regulating and decreasing things like worry and anxiety and things like that. So hopefully that will help get you started. And of course, reach out to me if you have questions about yoga or would like for me to work with your child. I do private integrative yoga sessions with children, and I also teach yoga to classes of children online and in person. And I do my kids yoga teacher trainings that are trauma informed, that really go in deep into these types of topics. So reach out to me anytime. I hope this was helpful.